it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're keying in on a very important and very poignant question that was presented to me, and that is, why is it so difficult to let go of a psychopathic individual, a love interest? This can also include the narcissist individual as well, but I really want to focus in the dynamics of a psychopath individual and why it is so difficult to let them go. Even if you have obtained the awareness that this person is essentially driving you crazy, you're aware of the fact that you are addicted to them, you're aware of the fact that they are bringing out this surge of energy. You're aware of the fact that they are creating this degree of paranoia, suspicion, and a position of having to investigate them or feeling intrigued by and fascinated by them. And that this also involves a great degree of deception and illusion in the relationship that only the two of you share. So it creates this cloistered relationship with this individual. And by cloistered, I mean set away from the rest of the mainstream, set apart from the rest of society. And it's something that you permit this other individual to have as a power over you. And you welcome this barrage of love bombing. And when you are engulfed or manipulated by a psychopath, realize that this person is unlike any other person. They are very unique and adept and expert at their ability to manipulate, deceive, and con. They have an expert ability to move between emotions, personalities, and when I say personas, I mean masks or personality effects that they have on people. So they can become very childish, they can become very intelligent, they can become expert at different cultures, they can become a chef, and it's not really the usual repertoire of different skills that we see within people. So someone might be have a many different many faceted talents. However, what I'm referring to is literally a persona and mask that is flipped on and off like a light switch, and it has that dramatic effect. In terms of being able to switch on and off, you can feel a alter presence when you are with this type of psychopathic individual who has a mind chemistry that is different from the norm. So when I say the ability to change masks, it is very much a palpable feeling that is exuded from this person. And so when you are witnessing to this individual, when the mask falls, when the mask breaks, or when they take it down, I think is a way to describe it, you feel a sense of a coldness, abyss, really a sort of evil presence. And that, I know that term is used loosely and has many connotations, but however you wish to use that term, it is a feeling of terror, fear, and really something that is beyond normal control. So it's a violation of boundaries. It's very difficult to articulate the feeling, but it is really that you're in the presence of something very evil, very destructive, and something that does not end. So almost like a dark hole of destruction, of evil, of hurt. And so the psychopath individual is aware of this ability that they possess to have an uncanny and very keen manipulation effect on others. They are very well aware that they have a heightened skill that most people do not possess because of their lack of conscience. They're able to really have a heightened perception and awareness of being able to read others. And as they read others, they're able to tell them things that they want to hear. They're able to craft personas that fit perfectly in a position. So it makes them very good and adept at business matters. It makes them very good at being managers or high ranking in organizations. And it also creates this what we call that indelible love bombing effect, where they're able to feel like they're focusing in on you and you alone. They're telling you things that are really create a chemical and physical reaction in you. And although we can, talk about this, I think those people who are watching understand. But when I want to focus in on this video is, why is it so difficult to let them go? Why is it, even if you're aware of this, why is it difficult to separate from the addiction? And that is because the psychopathic individual has a way to fuse their energy with your being to the effect that they become part of an identity for you. So when I talk about addiction, there is an identity of someone who's addicted. For example, someone says, I am an alcoholic, I am a drug addict. There is something part of the identity and the interweaving of that person's psyche, their belief about themselves, that is imbued and fused with this identity. So when you are love bombed by a psychopathic, manipulative individual who has used the gaslighting, the brainwashing, the triangulation, and you have accepted their influence and impact into your life, you have basically created this new level of manipulation into your life as part of your identity and part of your operating effect, part of your operating software, if you will, part of your everyday movement, feeling, emotion, your beliefs about yourself, your belief about others. And it becomes a sort of very cloistered or very alone and isolated experience. And it is an awareness that this person has this power over you, and yet it creates a pathological envy that you have of this psychopathic individual. So you then become keenly, the victim, target, individual becomes keenly aware of this unique ability of this psychopath to manipulate and control others. So then there is set up this pathological envy of this psychopath within the targeted individual, who is then fascinated, hooked in, and is essentially watching them like a train wreck. So psychopath individuals are aware of this effect, that it is in essence like watching a train wreck. I think that's a common statement. In other words, it creates a gaper's block, if you will. A gaper's block is when you see an accident, you see something very traumatic and you can't take your eyes off of it. So that is the effect that keeps you hooked. And part of the other effect is that it gives you this surge of power and of energy that then becomes part of your identity. So then this ability to control, manipulate, and power over others becomes part of your desire now. It becomes imbued with your identity that you then wish and desire to become like this individual, and they become almost part of you. So part of your identity is then fused with having this individual in your life. So it's very difficult to let them go because they have become now part of your energetic being, part of your belief about yourself, and part of your belief and how you feel of how you wish to proceed and interact with others. So they become an integral part of you. And yet it's important to realize that you are the power which you are seeking. So even though it seems like it's embedded in this psychopath, even though, and I know that this is very deep stuff here, guys, so thank you for hanging in there. I think it's a very poignant and very important topic, and I think it really expands out to addictions in general, is that it's very difficult to let somebody go if it's part of your identity. So, for example, you might have the identity of, this is who I am. I have blonde hair. This is the color of my skin. This is my, my presence. So, if your identity is then, fused with this, I am a drug addict. I am a sexual monger. I am a machine. I am, addicted, I am hooked to this person, and I'm beside myself. It becomes part of your I am. So that's why we see these individuals who are making these rash decisions, when they're overpowered and manipulated by the psychopath. It creates, their presence creates such a palpable electric magnetic field around them that you really find that you can't pull away. And this power of them then overpowers others. And when I say overpower, it means, I mean that. It overpowers them where they lose control. They don't have control over their logical, egoic mind and able to make linear decisions in terms of saying no. It becomes very much an addiction and very much a part of them and their identity. So it's difficult to let go of what you feel is who you are. So the who you are then becomes fused with this energetic field, if you will, of being manipulated and having this heightened sense of arousal and perception of the world, of your experience in it as well. So in terms of understanding that and letting that go and realizing that part of successfully moving through the grips of psychopathic abuse becomes very much part of the I am and part of the vision that you have for yourself moving forward, and whether you're able to have a vision of yourself as separate and independent of this person without needing that energetic manipulation integrated within how you then manipulate and have power over others, because it sets up this pathological envy that you want the power that they possess. You want that psychopathic power that they possess. And that becomes part of a desire and part of the addiction. So really moving forward and really realizing that how this individual then works in your life is being able to have a vision really at a rock bottom level, that it is very gaslighting and is very much of a brainwashing effect that this individual has over time. So the impact of it increases with time. So if you've been with this individual several months, realize that the addiction is setting up chronologically, which means, it gets progressive with time, just like alcoholics, tend to follow the path of drinking more over time, where the addiction then sets itself up. And just like with other drug abuse, it creates, there's a chronology to the addiction. And I do believe that there are some drugs which are immediately addicting, and there are some that others, cause addiction over time once you use it and the amount. So realize that the addiction becomes more set in the individual with time, and it becomes therefore more difficult to break free of that influence and that thought pattern that is changed when you are deceived by these individuals. So to move forward, I would encourage those people who are having a difficulty letting go of a psychopathic individual, realize the power that they have in your life and that physical feeling that you have. And realize that this is something that you then covet and envy about them, and you are then staying addicted to them. And you are, in that envy, you then turn it against yourself, where you then have this envy over yourself to then have that same power over others, which is manipulative and controlling and exploitative. And so realizing that this is really going to separate you from others, it's going to create a divisive and cloistering effect where your mindset is disconnected very much from perhaps those others in your life. It's going to create a very long-lasting effect of a separation where you're feeling above, separate from, depersonalized, and a sense of dissociating from, which becomes very difficult to heal through once you have been abused for a long period of time. And I think the viewers here, if you're experiencing this, you can, just give an idea of 1 to 10 how difficult it is for you to let go. 10 being the most difficult, and 1 being it's easy for me to let go. And I think we'll find that those people who have an ease of letting go, they've realized and had an epiphany, a rock bottom moment, and a vision of where the psychopathic relationship heads. So in other words, it doesn't lead to you being on top of the world. It leads to a very different place. And that is for your experience on a personal level to know and understand. However, I can be here to help soften the blow to that by sharing the pattern with which they abuse and creating that community and sounding board for that unique group of people who have been exclusively targeted by a psychopathic individual. It does create a community, an exclusive community, which hitherto those individuals who have not been targeted, they really don't understand. They're not able to see eye to eye. So I hope this video does help in realizing that to get to the other side of psychopathic abuse and letting them go is to realize that this individual has a negative influence. If you cannot see that, then you will not let them go. And furthermore, if your identity is infused with having them in your life as part of your persona, who you are, who you wish to be, who you expect to be, and who you feel entitled to be, that this then will also create a stronger addiction within you, almost like a gateway into further experience with and operating in this type of individual. And furthermore, feeling that you have the ability to control their influence in your life is also part of the addiction. Feeling that you have control over them, which is part of the denial, and keeping them around. So when you can realize this and then let go of really on those three stages, then you're able to get a sound perspective of the dynamics that are going within the mind and manipulative effects and manipulative focus of this type of individual and how they are really unique from most of society in that personality makeup. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.